I'm 62 and I avoid people. That's a video I did recently. I got a lot of comments about I didn't really explain myself. So here's why. Yeah, as I've grown older, I've noticed a few things. I've got memories of spending decades. Yeah, life changes, priority shifts. And as I've grown, I've noticed something surprising about myself, and that is I now avoid people. Yeah, and it wasn't always the way I felt. It was, I used to feel like very social. I used to always be surrounded by people. I used to always go to events. I used to hang out with family a lot and a bunch of friends in my local sort of scene that I was in. I always attended music venues, big gigs where you're sort of squashed in real tight, and I didn't really feel out of place. And like I've always helped in the community. I've always been I tried to always be a person people could rely on. Yeah, but somewhere along my life's journey, something's changed. And it mightn't be, I thought I was different, but I'm realizing it's not as uncommon as it looks. Especially reading the comments of my last video. It is, a lot of people get enjoyment out of solitude, but let me tell you why. Trust. The older and wiser you get, you sort of realize how fragile trust can be. When I was younger, trust came easily. It was what you did, it was who you was, it was you just felt everyone was trustworthy. Believing in the goodness of people and their intentions. But as life unfolded, I encountered people, and can we call it betrayal? It was just the way it made me more cautious about with the people that I hang out with. Trust once lost is hard to regain. I can remember my grandfather telling me that years ago. At 62, I find myself more cautious of whom I let into the inner circle. It's not that I'm bitter or angry. It's just, because I'm not really. It's just who I want to let in to my inner circle. I just want to be more careful. And you've all had that person in your life where you've just been let down by somebody for one way or the other, whether it's a family member or a friend. You've just lost that trust with them and they've let you down. It's by people that you never really expected it from. It could have been a friend who was, this is the same story I've seen like countless times. It's the story of a friend who seems to be more out of what they can get out of you or instead of what they can give you. It's people are there to take more these days than they were to give. Like in the past, little country towns, you could be safe by, you could walk outside the door and your neighbour would invite you in for a cup of tea, a beverage, or, they'd be baking, cooking, and they'd want to give. It was a joy to give, and that's the way it should be. But I find over the decades now, it's just been lost. I've relocated to a smaller city. I've come to a smaller town, and it's a blessing, because it's just how people want to start being more involved in your life. They ask you, "Are you okay?" They talk to you about how's things going. It's good to see you back here again. Or if when you go to the local shop and you want to go in and get your stuff and get out, it is nice that some of the people that you really only see in that one location want to strike up a conversation. I don't see that in the bigger cities anymore. In the bigger cities, it's what can they get from you? That seems to be what I've discovered over. It's probably the same everywhere, all around the world. But here where I live, and now I've been here for in this location for over 3 years, it's just I've just enjoyed the change from the hustle and bustle of a city life where people are chasing you for every dollar, every fee, every fine. The government, from the local government, the state government, the federal government, and it seems to be everyone squeezing that lemon for every bit of juice they want to suck out of your life, and it's just a rock these days. They're not sucking nothing out no more. I tell you what, it's I am just doing my thing on my terms and my way, and it's 60 years of life experiences that have sent me this way. And in reading all the comments on my other video that I've put out on this subject, I see that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that do feel the same way. Yes, so no, I don't close myself off entirely to the whole world. No, that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is I'm very, very selective on the people that I let into the inner circle. And it's from years of experience, like relationships. You've sort of got to have a cautious approach to new friends that you want to let into your life, because sadly it is at the stage of my life now where you think, okay, what do they actually want? And I'm not talking about marriages and girlfriends and boyfriends and whatever. I'm talking about the average work colleague who, for one reason or another, wants to be involved in your life after the office hours. Maybe it's your neighbour from across the road wants to be more involved. And it is nice to be in a community where neighbours do take care, like this holiday season now, if you're seeing this video, and neighbours to my left have gone away for a week, and they can you keep an eye on the house, and can you put the rubbish out on rubbish days, that sort of thing. And for sure, I support my neighbours that way 100%, because they're not the type of neighbours who come knocking on your door. Yeah, have you got a cup of sugar? They're the type of neighbours who keep to themselves. I'll look after you, you look after me, and we just keep to ourselves. And that's the sort of environment I'm enjoying being in. I was in an apartment complex a few years ago, and boy, it was just like you see on the TV shows. People knocking on your door. How you going? We're having some drinks. We want to come in. You want to come out. You want to come over. Let's go down here. And it drove you mad. It just leave us alone. I'm busy doing stuff. It's just I'm busy being me. But I'm trying to explain myself in the ways from the comments that I said on that video, that I'm 62, I avoid people, and here's why. Well, it's little things that are built up to this. This is what I'm saying. It's not like I'm not like someone who's just a solitude for whatever reason, and to be alone, to choose to be alone is great. Some people can't choose that for whatever reason. They are just alone, and I extend my hand, to say, write it out, type something in the comments for me, and I'll respond. For one reason or another, people end up going down that path, but I find at this stage of my life, going down that path of close family, a couple of close friends, keep the do-gooders or the wanna-hangers on, whatever you want to call them, at arm's length. Just I'm happy being me. I'm happy watching some grandchildren grow up. I'm happy just doing my thing, and my thing is many and varied. And here's something my grandfather always, something he told me that just stuck up here. It's he was talking about at the time, sport. I was into sports, and had a whole different circle of friends. And he said to me, just let the right people in. And I'm going, yeah, good on your pop. He said, don't build a wall around yourself. This is what it stuck with me. He said, don't build a wall around yourself. You build gates. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, you build gates. And he said, if you put a wall around yourself and don't let nobody in, he said, you build gates. That way you can selectively invite people in to your life. And that's really stuck with me for years. Yeah, don't build a wall around yourself. You build gates. And he was a good influence on me, my grandfather. He told me a car is to get you from point A to point B, and don't be Larry. You don't need to have the big mag wheels, the loudest engine, the shiniest car, the best paint job, whatever. A car is to be reliable and get you from point A to point B. Sort of common sense parenting that he was all these comments. He died too young too, let me tell you, and I do miss him. And another thing that he told me was, everyone's in a hurry to get nowhere. And they fight to be the first one to get there. It's like old Chinese wisdom. And these things to a young teenager used to just sort of fly over or sink in, like he used to tell me all these words of his wisdom of his life. And he had a hard life too. Like, he was a small country town, bought a butcher shop, worked inside the store, like everyone else was in a railway town and everyone else was working on the railways. And he chose to go down that different path. But words of wisdom from elders, and like, I'm 62, so I'm not trying to say I'm a wise old man. I'm just saying, at my stage of life, if you're watching this and you're in your 30s or your 40s, just take these little tips, and just, the old don't build walls around you, build gates. But just choose wisely on who you let into your life. I like to say, solitude isn't loneliness. Being alone isn't being lonely. Solitude is a thing to cherish. And here I am waving my hands around like I'm an Italian, and living in Australia, I've met so many wonderful Italians, some Greeks, some Maltese, all these fabulous hardworking migrants that have moved to this country and assimilated and brought their fantastic foods and cultures with them. So I have met all these wonderful people through sports as well, but I like my solitude, so I like to cherish my time alone. Do you, at 60, I get great pleasure of the moment you're in, like sitting in the yard, watching the birds, listening to the breeze, uh, sitting at the beach, and just enjoy that moment in time, because it comes and goes. Your time is fleeting. It is a thing to cherish, your time, especially time with your thoughts. So I'm not here to say to be a hermit, live under a bridge, run away from people. The pandemic, man, that opened up doors to staying inside. Like it, living in Australia when that was going on, it was crazy, depending on the state you lived in. And there's a story that's really, really, we could go down that road in another video, how just staying in the government paying you to stay at home and don't leave your front door. Unbelievable times indeed. And hopefully will never be seen again. But I am sort of running off the path here. I'd just like to say I avoid people at this stage in life, and it's not bitterness, it's not resentment. It's about living 6 decades, enjoying life, fighting the good fight, and just knowing after all this time, I don't need crowds of people around me. I've got a lovely wife, some good kids who don't call me enough, if you're watching. Yeah, some grandchildren, so life has been good to me. It's just enjoy the moments you have, because you never know when it's going to finish either. So your journey is your journey. Enjoy the moments. Enjoy your time to yourself. And I'm avoiding people, and that's why.